What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Some new news is coming out about the pistol whipping gun incident that went down between Jenelle Evans, David Eason, and her friends who allegedly were trying to help out move out of the house at the time of the alleged attack. And the details are as dark as you would expect them to be when it comes to something happening in the Jenelle Evans Eason household. So according to a source who is one of the two guys who helped her move her things, Jenelle's kids were present for the pistol whipping incident, and Ensley and Kaiser in particular witnessed what was going on and saw David hit her friend in the face with the gun. And so her friend is now saying that CPS should be involved in this situation, because if the gun had gone off when David was pistol whipping the friend with it, it could have injured or killed one of the children. So they are really mortified about the whole entire situation. My thing is that if they feel as though CPS should be involved, it's their job as people who witnessed the whole thing to report it to them. Don't just tell the press that you think CPS should be involved. Go to CPS and say, listen, I was involved in this kind of an altercation. It happened in front of these children, and I think you should step in here. So this is what they said in a direct quote to The Sun, and I quote, "The kids witnessed the altercation. They were crying. They saw David hit James with the gun. When he hit him in the back, if that gun went off, his kids would have been in jeopardy. The kids would have been dead. CPS needs to be involved, and the kids need to be protected." If you recall from my earlier video about this incident, which was going to be linked somewhere on this page, David pistol whipped one of Jenelle's friends who was helping her move her things out of the house because he thought that the friend had stolen his truck keys. He was like, listen, give me the keys to my truck. And when the friend could not give him any because he did not have them, David accused him of stealing them and whipped him in the face, only to later found out that, he was the one who had misplaced his own keys. And so Jenelle and her friends went down to the magistrate that same day to file a report against David. And then the police went over to David this past weekend at the swamp to arrest him for the incident. And so what David did after that actually was file his own claims against Jenelle's friend. And by the way, despite all of this, Jenelle actually is back with David, but we're going to get into that and more a little bit later on in the video. So let's back things up a little bit. There's something about this friend's statement that should send shivers down your spine. So the friend was saying that the person who was pistol whipped by David feared for his life at the time, and Jenelle was very laid back about it, which I think goes to show you how used she is to all of David's violence. Like, we all knew that he was a very dangerous, violent person, but the fact that she was very laid back about her husband pulling out a gun on one of her friends and bringing that gun to her friend's face tells you a lot about what it is that she has to live with. And that's why it's so sad to now realize that she is back together with him, because again, it's just par for the course with women who are very severely abused. And that's why the legal system needs to take it, as seriously as possible, because these psychological bonds are too hard to break. Like, they need the law to step in and keep her away from him if there's any way of saving her here. So according to the source, David told the victim that he, and I quote, wanted to F him up, and then shoved him in the chest, and he landed on his lower back on the floor. A guy named James, who happens to be disabled, actually had to grab a coat rack and use it as a shield against David, who was holding the gun. So it sounds like a wild scene, not only for adults to be present for, but for children to be witnessing. And mind you, these kids just last year heard gunshots when David went in the backyard and killed the family dog. So just the amount of trauma that they go through is so mind-blowing to me. And the fact that there's nothing really that can be done about this, like, sure, CPS removed them from the house for a little bit, but they almost immediately put them back into Jenelle and David's care, even after David literally said that he couldn't care less about his own daughter. And she already testified that she was terrified of him, and she had a mother who was ready and willing to take her on full time. They sent her back to him. And now I just can't. It really is hard to discuss what it is that these kids go through. It's so beyond unfair, you guys. But back to the coat rack. So that friend says that he used the coat rack to shield himself against David, who was approaching him and the other guy with a gun after already pushing them on the ground and pistol whipping them. So what David did after being arrested and charged for assault with a deadly weapon, what he did was file his own claims, and he claimed that the friend used a forged homemade coat rack to attack him. It is just wild to me that he is allowed to do that to someone. Like, that might stay or show up on this guy's record when all he did was try to help his friend out. And to add insult to injury, after being charged out with a gun, after now having a man press false charges against you for assault, this guy has to get up on social media yesterday and see that the friend who he almost died helping is now already back together with her husband. Yes, you guys, Jenelle is back together with David Eason, and his TikTok from yesterday might prove it. And by the way, it might also not be true that she's back together with him. It could be an old video that he's only uploading now to get some attention and make us think that they're back together. I truly am on the fence about what it could mean, but I'm gonna play you the TikTok so you can judge for yourself. But just to preface things, this TikTok was uploaded just yesterday by David on his account, and he is talking to the kids at the table, and you could hear in the background Jenelle talking. And not only is that Jenelle's unmistakable voice, but it's also her unmistakable son Kaiser in the video, sitting at the dining table right next to their daughter Ensley. So if this is a recent video that he actually did take yesterday, it would show you that she did end up getting back together with him after, crying about how the courts were not taking things seriously enough and how she wanted to go and file a restraining order on Monday. And how she wanted to go and file a restraining order immediately on Friday, but wasn't able to because the court did not do enough for her, and that she was going to be doing it on Monday. Well, according to The Sun, which actually does throw some fuel onto the speculative fire, Jenelle never did actually end up filing any restraining order against David. And we are now Thursday, almost an entire week after the incident. So you guys, do you think that kind of, confirms that she is back together with him and that it is a new video and not an older one? And not only that, but do you think that her friends will actually go to CPS and report what had happened? And could those kids potentially be removed from their house yet again? Make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.